Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I'm Jackson from Campaign Coins. I'm here with Mark from Campaign Coins. We are Campaign Coins, and this is the third part of our playthrough for BEOWULF Age of Heroes, the Hermit Sanctuary. BEOWULF Age of Heroes is, of course, the new setting and rules variations for 5e. Which you can get right now from Handiwork.Games. Handiwork Games is the publisher. It's available on print on demand and from PDF, on PDF from DriveThruRPG. We are playing through the Hermit Sanctuary, which is the first adventure for BEOWULF, and it's available for free, I believe. A free download. It's a great way to get started with this neat rules variation and setting, which is designed for duet play, one DM and one adventurer only, because that is the story of BEOWULF. So here we are. We're streaming, and we're also streaming with the help of Sirenscape. Excuse me, which you can hear noodling away in the background. Sirenscape is a really cool online tool. Get live, not live music, but live sounding music and soundscapes and sound effects into your games, and we think it's really neat. I think that's all I had to say. I'm going to pass it over to Mark, who I'm sure is going to recap what we're up to right now and forebode what is to come.
Listen! Bald Eadig was a powerful hero. His arms were mighty. He could lift a bench with all of his followers on it over his head. He was a man who fought monsters and pushed back the darkness and made things safe. But now, did he have second thoughts? In that hermit's hall at midnight, the door burst open, and there stood his follower, Eastmond. Good, kind, not very bright Eastmond, covered in gore, wearing the lifeblood of one of the crew, Olaf, now dead. Eastman staggered in, but he had saved every man and woman on the ship. 40 people crowded into the hall behind him, seeking sanctuary from what was out there in the dark. The monster that had already killed 2 pilgrims and left just bloody bones, and a wandering monk, a monster which preyed on the island, which now it seemed nobody could leave. But the followers of the hermit had told Eadig some things. The boy Edgar said that he thought that there were cliffs down on the western side of the island. Perhaps the monster was sleeping there. Frifka had been building the wall up again after a storm. Cairo, the housekeeper, seemed to be disappointed that Eadig had arrived because she was expecting somebody else. And Elfwolf, the trader, who knew many things about the island, including that the pilgrims had been stealing from the hermit, stealing all of the treasures. So these were the people that they had come to and must now save from this terrible thing in the dark. There is a loud thump as Eastmond, having said his bit, face plants, bang, into the hall, shaking. And Sewan and Nut the Old rush forwards to drag him to the fire and tend to him. And the crew tell you, Eadig, of what transpired, that they were there camped on the beach in the dark. Of course, I'm telling you this as a narrator, but they're all yelling and screaming and, this thing's happened. And suddenly, Olaf was lifted bodily from the fireside. He was just telling a joke, and then he was just kicking legs, and then the blood proceeded to shower. Everybody grabbed a spear, because in BEOWULF, you can always have a spear. There's always a spear handy. So they all grabbed their spears and struck at the monster at this dark shadow, Eastman hardest of all. But their spears did nothing. They broke in the monster's hide, and then Olaf burst as 2 huge tusks burst through his back and ripped up, tearing him in half. Eastmond gathered everybody unto him and took them all off the beach and up the cliff path, Eastmond himself coming last. He saved every man and woman on that crew. And Nut the Old, who wanted to give you counsel that Eastman was not the brightest follower you have, and Thormund gave you the side eye. Oh, you went with Eastman. It was a wise choice. Who knows how many would have died? The boat might have been wrecked. So that is what they tell you. And then Cairo is like, so many guests to housekeeper. So she is bustling. I don't know how I can make this stretch, and giving everybody a thimbleful of stew. But from the other end of the Hermit's Hall, the curtains are parted, and out comes an old man, an old saintly old man. You may assume he is in fact the Hermit, Egbert. As meanwhile, Frithgar and Thormund are busily once again putting the benches in front of the door. So there is the Hermit standing with the light behind him in a state of some confusion, as perhaps the seniors among us are. Well, I am certainly confused if I woken in the night. What is happening?
Sir, we apologize for rousing you this late in the evening. We know you've got lots of meditation and your solitude is very important to your mission here. But, well, I'm Eadig, and I've sailed from Northumbria with these mighty men, these heroes, and we're here to take care of the monster situation. Unfortunately, it seems to have struck again. So if you'll have me, if you'll lend your hospitality just a moment longer, I would into the night and take care of this beast.
It struck again. Then we must pray. And I see, Eadig, that you are a godly man, and he's indicating the cross that you wear. Then, if this is God's will, then we shall endure it. His design is, we cannot fault the Creator. But I am glad. So many people. Where did they all come from? You notice that the Hermit, he thanks you, and then he just kind of wanders off. He just wanders off, like. And you're going to have to kind of get him back by perhaps you could make some godly pronouncement using your religion skill, which is an intelligence check, or you could use your insight, because you have dealt with godly men who exist within our world but yet beyond it, and you have to use certain techniques to get them to focus. So which skill would you like to use?
My religion is much better than my insight, and that's where I'm so inclined.
Right. Well, the extra good news is that you are going to get advantage because you are a hero who is aligned with the church. Now, in Beowulf, you can be aligned with the church, you can be aligned with the old ways, or you can be neutral and choose your own path. So all the NPCs have different reactions according to who you are, and you're the right man for the job, Eadig. So take an advantage roll on your religion test.
I sure will. So I can either take an 11 with my church dice or a 17 with my non-church dice. Would an 11 cut it?
I am actually...
Or are you not meant to tell me?
Yeah, it is a difficulty... No, I'm happy to say it's a difficulty 15 check.
All right.
Yeah. So you'll be wanting to take the other dice.
In that case, yes. In this occasion, I will take the higher dice. And I guess I'm trying to steer him away from the crowd, make sure he doesn't get too caught up, and probably prompt him for some prayer and guidance with my religion knowledge.
That's absolutely perfect. And if you just want to change up the camera, Jackson, and we will just look at our little inspiration map down here, just as a little rules reminder to everybody, that because of the omens and portents of this adventure, baleful grief will certainly baleful for Olaf, who is Olif's brother, who is stricken with grief because Olaf has been ripped open like a wishbone, his guts falling to the beach, and everything else going all over Eastman. Sorry. So we can see that the monster, whatever it is, has 2 inspiration. You have 1 inspiration. Your followers have 1 inspiration. But also, by using your church dice earlier, you've got an inspiration up your woolly sleeve and your broad arms there. So indeed. So that is you're drawing the hermit aside, and what are you speaking to him?
Well, sir, I would have you lead us in prayer. If we are going to face this terrible beast tonight, then I would be much grateful for your spiritual guidance.
Prayer, of course, because this has always been a holy place. We pray to God here. We welcome pilgrims and monks and men and women such as you, but it is an ancient place, and the ancients were here, and they built. Their magic was strong here, even though they worshipped the pagan gods, and now their old ways are fading. The more we read of the book, the more we learn not to fear the dark, and yet the dark seem to have come for us. We must pray stronger. If you are interested in the history of the island, the graveyard is older than our hall here. You are most welcome, Eadig. Most welcome indeed. All right, and he will certainly pray. And a hush falls upon the hall as he prays, and all those of the church take great succour and comfort from that, and all those who follow the old ways know when to hold their tongue because there's a monster outside, and let's not get too hasty. If you make a perception roll, you might hear Thorman's eyes rolling because he is definitely, there's a kind of a grindy sound because, of course, he follows the old ways. Wotan and Thor guide his strong hand. He needs not this new book. Why have one god when you can have all of them? But he too knows how to hold his tongue. So that is the night. And Cairo is moving around, and she is feeding everybody. And you'll have, after a time, the hermit will retire again. You'll have an opportunity to talk to Cairo some more if you wish.
Sure. My good lady, I apologize for this sudden inconvenience. I thank you again for your hospitality. I know it is stretched beyond the normal limits, but it's much appreciated.
Well, yes, but we will make everybody welcome. Of course we will. And now you got off on the wrong foot with her. You turned up as a warrior and filled her boy with all kinds of wild ideas, and she did not take to that. But then she saw how kindly you treated with him and gave him good advice. And so you can go ahead and make a charisma check. It's persuasion. And you're going to get advantage for 2 reasons. You get all the advantage because you've been kind to her son and given him good advice. And also, once again, you're aligned to the church. So have a persuasion check.
I have with a 22, which I believe is what I rolled for the boy as well.
Then...
and that's with my church die. Is that worth another point of inspiration, or have I already got that?
No, this is inspiration on the hoof. This can't be stored up. You either have it or you don't.
Of course.
I am currently pointing to a counter, which is on a camera, which I don't know if you can see it.
We got it. We got it.
Hey, all right, woo, finger. I can't do a sort of magic finger reveal like hand actors. But yes, you've got that already, so
Gotcha.
don't be shy.
Okay.
Use it when you want, because you might get it back. Her eyes brim with tears as her face softens. You're welcome, and I know you're a good and godly man, and I know the boy must find his own task, and he will be a man next summer. In other words, he'll be 13. And it's just that the pagans killed my husband. And with this, she kind of looks darkly at some of the kind of more, pagan members of your crew. And I'm just so worried that the monster is here and the hermit is old, and what will become of the sanctuary when well, the sanctuary itself has always been here, and it has kept evil forces at bay. And even though I feel that God will strike me for saying such a thing.
The sanctuary being this building or the island? I ask.
Yeah.
Out of character, do I know that this building is the holy place, or?
You not the old.
Yeah.
You called him in because of his knowledge of I forget what the skill is called, the old ways. It's the ruins.
Yeah.
That is the original structure. That is the sanctuary.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, good lady, the Almighty put all of us here for a reason, even those who follow the old ways. And I reckon he's brought us here this night to rid you of your curse.
You're a good man, Eadig, a good man. All right, well, you've absolutely won her over. And so that is it for the night, unless you would like to gather everybody and go outside and get the monster.
Yeah, I was thinking that was certainly the head rush that I got, but now that everyone has settled down and everyone seems to be able to spend the night here, I think maybe it would do everyone some good to get some rest rather than go out all kind of wild and still spooked from Olaf's demise. So if I can get everyone to space to lie down on the floor, then perhaps one more fitful night of rest may not be such a bad idea.
And that is what happens. That is a long rest. After all that, you still managed to get in 8 hours, because I think it was around midnight, I think, that it burst in. So Saywin has a good night's sleep, your trader, but she's still visibly weakened by the chill she caught on the boat, and that is going to continue until she succeeds at a check of some kind.
She has disadvantage?
Yes, she has disadvantage on anything she wants to do.
But she's not spent, so that's good news.
She is not spent, no. Okay. And in fact, what happens is that Elfwolf, the next morning, proceeds to trade with her. And you can make an insight roll.
I will.
Elfnoth.
Elfnoth. I am not particularly insightful.
And there once again is the illustration of Elfnoth with his Frisian hat. And of course, Frifgar, the builder, who gets up early with a big sigh and a shrug, because he's got to go to work. And now that the light is streaming into the hall, the morning light, it's still a grey light. You're on an island in the North Sea. It's not the Bahamas. You can see that there are holes in the roof, and they're recent, and that Cairo has got buckets here and there that she's moving around. And the buckets themselves are in need of repair because, once again, nothing is on this island unless it gets brought here. So Elfnoth is trading with Saywin. How'd your insight go?
Not good, too.
Okay, no worries.
I'm busy, rallying the troops and getting things ready. I'm sending the crew, not the followers, but the crew, to kind of put them to work around the hall. And if they can help patch things up and get things started for the day, then at least they'll somewhat earn their keep.
All right, so you
That's perhaps why I didn't notice what Saywin's up to.
Yeah, certainly. You you instruct the crew, and that causes mad confusion instantly because they first of all, your crew are barely even in this adventure. They're just your motor for your boat. They are really good at packing boats and putting up sails and going places, but once you realize, oh my God, I now have 40 people. What are they going to do there? You know what happens when everyone tries to be helpful at once? They're moving the buckets. They're getting in the way. They don't know what to do. That's just causing pandemonium.
Oops.
Until Cairo says, everybody out. But you can see, however, that Frifgar he was going off to quarry stone from the ruin. Because the outside, and we've got our map. In fact, we've got a nice view of the Hermit Sanctuary here. There it is. So it has the that standing stone, of course, at the fork in the path that you couldn't inspect properly last night because it was too dark. But it has the wall around it, and now that you're outside in the daylight, you can see there has been a huge storm here recently. The island was absolutely lashed by a storm, and that's where all the holes in the roof are from. And in particular, the wall has collapsed, and you can see that stone by stone, Frifgar has been kind of dragging, or he probably has a small kind of cart he pulls, bringing stones back to mend that wall.
All right. I guess that's curious. I'll ask about that.
Mm-hmm.
Frifgar, how long have you been taking stones from the ruins to put the wall back together?
Oh, the stone, the stone. Just the last week, there was a big storm, and the wall was ruined. And especially now with this monster, we want to be able to defend it. And you could make a now that you're talking to Frifgar about his work, he likes that. Mm-hmm. You can make a persuasion check with him. Your difficulty is 12. Oh, is your strength 14 or above?
It sure is.
What is it?
18.
Woo! You're going to get advantage on this roll with him because he likes fellow strong men and strong women, and also you're being kind to Cairo. So by your sheer goodness, Eadig, everybody is warming to you, and you're becoming this calming influence among them, somebody who is capable of great feats of strength and violence, but you radiate this will be okay, and you can feel everyone's relaxing into that.
Excellent.
It'll last at least until sunset.
That was an 18 to
18.
Talk to him.
All right. Yeah. I appreciate the crew, but would you help me move the stone? Because there are some that it will take a man like you and me to lift.
Of course I would. Anything to keep you and your family safe.
And you may find them interesting. They have many old carvings from ancient carvings on the stones.
I will choose to find them interesting. I don't know if I need Not's help to translate them.
He will be excellent at that. Now, we are going to have a roll for Siwen's trading. I think she has a trading skill.
I believe so. Let me find her follower sheet. Siwen, merchant. She knows the ways of trade. I can spend her in order to get advantage on an ability check relating to a purchase. That's what I can do with her.
Okay, so I mean, even though she's a trader, she trades for you. So that is, so you can decide to trade here. Say, all right, yes, we will do that, and that'll be her day until she sleeps. So do you want to break that up and say we have work to do, monsters to find, or do you want to have her trade? It's your decision. She's your follower.
I think we'll continue with the prep for now, and then if there's something that I suddenly need from the islanders, then perhaps I can spend her to get to make a check to requisition something.
All right, then you call her to work, and she goes, "Achoo! Sorry. Later, Elfnoff, we have there is a monster around. We'll do this later." And make a perception roll.
What do I perceive? Not much. My perception is 12 all up.
Okay. Just for a moment, there's a flash of annoyance with Elfnoff that he was just getting down to business, and then, but you know, he said, "Oh, of course, of course," and then is all activity. I believe that you and some of the crew, and what about your followers? Are they all coming with you as well?
Yes, I think that's a good idea, especially if there's a monster about. So we're gonna, I guess, give Thriftgar a hand with the stones, and also if Nut keeps an eye on them and can tell us a little bit more about the history of the island from the carvings, that's even better.
All right. Forgive me for the fact I'm turning sideways as I arrange for a scene change, because the adventure has the most fantastic printable maps, and I just couldn't resist getting them done. So don't put the camera on yet. We'll just get that ready for
I cannot wait.
close-up. Excellent.
Can we hear the waves from up here, this high up on the island?
Yes, you can hear the waves.
Well
and the
then,
seabirds.
while you're setting up the map, I'm going to turn to my Sirenscape control panel and turn up some waves to this lovely daylight forest scene we have.
All right, it is just that. All right. While I try to adjust something in a camera, when my left is, it's right.
All right, may we see the camera?
It's like a performing monkey. No, because you're not there. You are not there.
All right, then.
Such a tease. But, however, what you can see, and I'll just get this lined up, is you're going right past that standing stone that you couldn't see in the dark. So that's up now, I believe. So you are on your way to the ruin, which is basically retracing your steps. And there is that standing stone that you could not see last night. It has a carving of what seems to be a horned figure. And there's many small figures around it. And they're doing battle. And all of the smaller figures, their swords are broken.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well.
And there is a line of Ogham, the language of the ancients, carved into the stone. And I believe that you've already actually used Nut to look at this. I believe he succeeded in his role last night on the standing stone.
Yeah, he succeeded. If he had failed, then he would have been spent. But as it is, he is still available, I believe. I can activate him to translate Ogham or interpret some other clue.
Yeah, so I'm going to give that to you for free because he made some study of it last night.
Sure.
Now I can read it. So Not the Old comes forwards, and it's a little unclear. It has been in the weather. This moss, it's something about a gathering of great heroes fighting the giant who defeated them. Its hide cannot be pierced by iron. And now, of course, we forgot Eastman, who had a big night. Why don't you make a saving throw for him?
Sure. Talking to 17? That sounds pretty good.
All right, Eastman is up. He has like a massive scratch on him where he did battle with whatever it was in the dark, and it just smashed him out of the way. And it's like a huge claw mark. But he's a tough warrior, and he wishes to be with you.
Excellent.
So he is doing his part. He's washed clean. So that is the story of the Standing Stone.
Oh, I don't much like the sound of that. These giants, what are they supposed to look like? Do you reckon that's exactly what we're going up against here?
It lifted Olaf off the ground and tore him apart like a wishbone.
Sounds pretty giant to me. So this stone, it doesn't say how it was defeated, only that iron couldn't defeat it. There's no happy ending here?
There is not, says Nut. This is a warning.
Well, that's alright. My weapon of choice is a club anyway. I reckon I don't need to pierce him. Just need to knock him out.
All right, so you have stepped forward on the island. You're walking along the path. There is all the heather and gorse. There is the wheeling gulls overhead, the distant skies and sea. You, as you leave the walled enclosure of the Hermit's Hall, and he, of course, has been up praying since dawn. Those two extra huts, by the way, in the enclosure, one was their storeroom and the other was where the servants used to sleep until they moved to the hall because people started dying. You are now walking along the path. You can make a perception roll for me.
I sure will. That's a 5. I was debating whether to use my inspiration, but it's just a nice walk in the park, so I'm not too worried.
You're focused. There's not a problem here. Vis-a-vis your inspiration, when we play at home, we just use it for a reroll. But this system really is built in to use it as a proper advantage.
Righto.
So yes, you do have to say it before you roll.
Outrageous.
Sucks to be you. All right, so you can see that ruin kind of, rising above as the crew look a little nervous about heading back towards the boat. But on the other hand, you probably want to see what condition the boat is in. So you approach the ruin. It is of unfathomable age. It is huge stone blocks covered with moss, set in place with many kind of smaller chunks to kind of hold them in. It rises up. The walls were very thick once, and yes, indeed, you can turn on the camera, Eadig, as you head on. As soon as I find you, walk on into the ruins like thus, followed by all of your crew.
And this is where Thrift Guy's been taking the stones from?
Exactly. Yeah.
And Thrift Guy's still with us now?
He is.
Excellent.
And some of your crew as extras to help. Here is Frifgar walking along as well. He's coming in with you. Over here, this is the hut where they sit there and keep the light for shipping. So somebody stays there overnight, although not last night after the events. There's one entrance into the ruins. The lintel is intact. You walk in under there, and inside is a circular space. It's overgrown. There's bracken and brambles, and the footing is very unsure. There's like kind of hidden pits. There's beam holes in the walls. So the sense of like those thick walls, there are hollows between them. And the beams are long since kind of rotted away. There is a staircase leading up, which kind of ends in broken masonry. Indeed, there are old carvings around on the inside of the walls.
More carvings to interpret. Any more language, or are these purely illustrative?
I believe this is going to be a job for Nut.
Excellent. Now, is this going to be another roll?
Yes, this is new. He hasn't been in here.
All right. Well, this seems important, so I would like to use my follower inspiration at this stage.
Are you sure you're not going to get that follower inspiration back? So if you need it later to have them save your life, for example, or not die. That's
a good point. I've only got one for the entire adventure. When I get some more inspiration from using my church die, can I use that in my followers, or is that me only?
I believe it is you.
Okay. All right. In that case, I'll just leave Nut to his own skill.
Okay. Give him a roll.
Oh, yes, 15. He's still good and he's not spent.
Why doubt him? He is in and looking around at there, going carefully so he doesn't lose his footing. Meanwhile, Thorman goes up the stairs, doesn't ask your permission, just kind of takes himself off up there. And the others are kind of looking around as they come on in. So the carvings are on the inner walls, and they show robed figures in procession, carrying a variety of objects. They're carrying neck rings, scepters, cauldrons, and serpents. And this, as Nut is looking at them, there's a real sense of ritual in this. This is they are about some ceremony. It is hard to follow the narrative, as he'd probably say story. Narrative has got too many syllables for an Anglo-Saxon smart guy. But there is a design which is repeated. So see here and here and here and here. See that cross interlaced with serpents. I see that a lot. And indeed, once he draws your attention to it, yeah, it's a little decorative motif, which does appear repeatedly.
Any sign of the giants in this one?
No, but some of the stones are missing because Frithgar has taken them. So maybe they're on those. Maybe they're part of the wall. So there definitely are gaps. And Frithgar is now at work. And you know, he's you gonna help him?
Yeah. Frithgar, I understand that these stones are required to keep you and your friends safe. Just please be mindful that even though these carvings relate to the old ways and the ancients, you never know what hidden gems of knowledge are contained within. I'm saying that the clues here might relate to the creature that besieges you.
The only knowledge we need is in the book. Come, help me lift it. He rejects out of hand your pagan
tolerance
pronouncement.
All right, yeah, then. That's fair enough.
And also, he's a practical man. He's living now. This is old. But you can throw a persuasion on there to try to kind of.
No, I just thought I'd point it out so that I can say I told you so later. I'll help
like
move the
the
stones.
hero that you are.
I'll just scatter a bit of foreshadowing into the narrative, but help move the stones anyway.
Alrighty. So yeah, go ahead and make a persuasion anyway. Just throw it down.
I will. Let's see what he says. What he thinks about that. 22 again. I really like rolling 17, adding 5 for 22 on my persuasion.
So you lean in together to move the stone, and it is an intimate moment. You know, you're bunching your muscles. Your faces are quite close. He starts to tense his muscles, and then you can see he's relaxing, and he looks at you very, very close and says, I do get a funny feeling when I'm working here alone.
What kind of feeling?
The feeling you get in any old place. So you put doubt into his mind.
Oh no. As I see it, yes, these stones were written by the old ones who followed the old ways, but there's always a chance that, well, the Almighty has brought us here to find the clues and the knowledge they left behind. I like to keep an open mind about these things. You never know when the old ways can serve the new.
If you this now you're seeing this symbol of this cross intertwined with serpents, and they have a fantastic design by Paul Byrne. Hermit Sanctuary has extraordinary illustration. So there is the design right there, you can see. So very kind of intertwined. That's the cross that keeps on repeating within the stones. Frithgar is now, you've put doubt in his mind. And now it is your decision to continue the work or stop it.
Can we not take the stones that don't have quite so many carvings?
These are the best ones and the easiest to lift. But we could.
Well, I'd propose that if you take any stones with carvings, you do your best to remember where they were once the threat has passed. Consider moving them back.
And he's being thoughtful about that.
He is quite right, though, that he does need the stones to survive right now, I suspect.
But there is, as you can see, kind of from the wonderful printed map we have here, there is just no shortage of stone down there.
And they couldn't have carved on all of it.
He's been choosing these because they're very smooth surface.
Yeah.
So they're very easy for building
and for carving.
He can change that up. So that is not a problem at all. All right, and that's the we've got up now. That's the overhead view of that whole area, so you can kind of see that clearly. So that changes the whole work. And once he changes to the smaller stones from outside, that's something that he and the crew can continue with. But you've been here for quite a while investigating, so it's getting into the afternoon now. You make a perception roll for me. Sorry, I should say that Thorman went up those stairs and he came down. Says there's a good view from up there.
I'd see it. I'll head up and see it. And is that my call for my perception roll?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. 12? No.
12 is fine.
14 is better.
14 is better. So it really does command an excellent view of the whole island. The island is small. I mean, you knew that when you arrived here by boat. And you can see those gulls wheeling around. Edgar said on the eastern side, that's where a lot of the nesting is taking place. That's where you are now, in fact. And you can see that the birds are keeping an eye on you as you work in the ruin, and every now and then they wheel over and squawk. You up on the northern side of the island, you can see the walled graveyard that the Hermit talked of, that he mentioned. And also dotted here and there are actually many standing stones. They're in various places all around. As the afternoon light is changing, you can see that some of them also have some more carvings upon them. Some of them look to be covered in moss, and some of them are quite in the distance. So there's definitely a lot of carvings.
All right.
You get the sense of this very old place. And those northern cliffs, they are the highest. That's the high side of the island. And from the top of the cliff to the sea is 120 feet.
All right. How's the work with the stone going? Just about wrapping up?
That is now taking place.
Excellent.
You've let the crew, left them with Frithgar, and they are just doing that. You can just make a strength roll for your help.
I will. With aplomb, I am sure. Is that a 22 one more time? Sounds like I'm making this up now. Yet again, a 22.
All right. Well, you've led by example. You've easily shouldered the heaviest, and that is now labour. That is not the stuff of heroes, my friend. I know you're a nice guy, but unless you plan to brick the monster in, that is not the solution to your problems.
Excellent. All right. Well, now that that's underway, I'd have myself and my brave followers sally forth. I'm quite keen to see more of the story that these stones can tell us, especially the one we have seen tell a story of a giant whose hide can't be pierced. I'd know if any of the other stones contain any clues, any stories about what exactly lives on this island and what we might come up against, and maybe we'll pick out which ones are between here and the beach, get back down to the beach, see if we can't follow up the tracks of the creature and the tracks of Olaf. Or the remains of him.
All right, so you got a really good view from up there. There is definitely one more standing stone directly opposite on the other side of the path, right up on the headland. It definitely looks directly over the beach. So yeah, you could make your way up to that and then down the cliff path. All right. There are stones everywhere. We're going to have a random stone now. We're going to see what that stone says. Beowulf has a lot of fantastic random chants, and it really is a pick up and play game. You can randomize the whole mystery, the whole monster. So roll a d8. Did you?
I was on mute. How rude. There was a garbage truck going past, so I just muted so you wouldn't,
right.
so the immersion wouldn't be shattered.
Very strange thing in the North Sea.
That's right. A 2 on that one.
All right. Okay. So that is a short stone. It's only 4 feet tall. Roll the d8 again.
7.
It is a plot stone. You've lucked it out. Yep. And roll again.
One more time. Another 7? Do you want me to re-roll that?
No, that's perfect. So it caught your eye. In fact, it was though the God himself had shown it to you. I was describing the way the afternoon light was turning around, and that standing stone just shone. It had a glow to it, almost attracting you. So you walk directly to it, and see indeed that it is carved like the other, and it was it's a smaller one. And it's just thinking about how it is because it's small. Yeah, it's actually been broken off. All right, so you can see that it was once much larger. But you can see it has an interlaced border to it, and you can see a pair of feet, like so, as though some figure was standing here. And just in the pattern remaining, there are rays, like lines, as though some indication of a light source, some holy radiance. But the stone itself was broken. It was broken long ago. It's like the top is mossy.
What can I tell about the feet? Does it look like giant's feet, as indicated by the other one?
No, it does not. No, it looks like from the other one. It looks like a person.
Okay. Well, I'd say this person probably commanded some kind of divine radiance. Does that follow what you'd see of this nut?
It wouldn't be. It would be an old pagan. If we talk of the divine, we only talk of our creator. And Nut, of course, knows about the old ways, but he's a convert, as was happening right through Anglo-Saxon times. That they turned to the church. So I would not call it divine as you know it, but yes, it is interesting. But until we find what has happened to the top half, it has been moved long ago. Look at the moss here.
All right, and I've got one more stone to see. Is that right?
Now that you are here at the top of the cliff, you can see that cliff path down to the boat. And good news, the boat is intact. There is nothing wrong with the boat. And you can see that you're kind of on a high part of the cliff. but the hill slopes down to so you can follow the headland around, and there is another standing stone down below you. So you can walk down to that, or you can go down the cliff path, as was your plan.
Let's have a look at one more stone.
Okay, and I am able to describe this because this has such a beautiful painted map by John Hodgson, which has all these kind of details, which I'm not going to show you because it's covered in spoilers.
Wow.
All right, so you walk down to the next lowest stone. Roll a d8. I love this. Wow, random stones. 3d8.
Trois, tree. And a 1. And a 5. 3, 1, 5.
Okay, it's about 6 feet tall. It's covered in deep green moss, and it has geometric pictograms featuring lozenges and arrows.
Lozenges and arrows, but it's just a geometric pattern as far as...
That's correct.
Fascinating. Cannot tell me what this means?
Only if you risk wheeling him in.
I feel like we're getting close to actually getting to the business of tracking the monster, so I'd be inclined to use him one more time.
All right.
Oh, 6. He fails and he is spent.
All right.
I cannot use him again this adventure.
That is in the full Beowulf rules, which we're using. It clarifies it's a long rest.
Okay.
So, and it's the Game Master's choice if you want tension, or not. You will. So he'll need a long rest. Now it seems weird to me. What's he done? Is he like I've been thinking too hard? So how has he spent? What happened? You tell me.
Yeah,
you're the Game Master now.
That's a good question. I guess maybe like these geometric patterns kind of stump him a bit. He wouldn't have any like reading material research. Maybe like he gets kind of fixated on these and he doesn't immediately know what they are, but he thinks, oh man, there's some great clue here. And now he thinks, if I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to have to go back and look at all the other stones, maybe go back to the ruins, look for these patterns. And by the end of the day, he's going to figure out, no, they were just pretty carvings.
That's
so
what Nuts
he kind of becomes like weirdly obsessed with them, even though
what does the lozenge mean? I see this design nowhere else. There must be some design to it. So he's. I will work this out for you. I'm on something, and he's not. But off he goes.
All right. He is spent.
Nice rock, says Thormund.
Thormund, I'd have you keep your tongue. Not and the old ways often have hidden gems of knowledge for us. You never know, they're going to save our life one of these days.
He doesn't speak. You've told him to keep his tongue.
Yeah. He's a good man. All right, let's get down to the beach and see what's left of...
All right. Down to the beach. Make an investigation roll.
I will not investigate much, I suspect, with a 5? No, 6.
Nothing is left of Olaf. And they were camped above the high tide, so there is still blood upon the sand. Thick blood is lifeblood, well, the amount that wasn't like splashed onto Eastman. But there is no sign of the assassin nor where it went. But any tracks that it made, it would have followed along the beach. The tide has been up and down since, so that would all be washed away.
Even the blood.
Once again, if you can imagine where they were camping was above the tide line.
Right, gotcha.
The monster then went down and along the beach in the dark, so there is no tracks to be found.
Smart monster. I wonder if any of my followers are particularly adept trackers, but it does not seem so. No, not as I can tell. All right, so what are the ways off this beach other than the trail we've just come down? Is it? Have we walked down a cliff face?
This is the path with the stairs where you first arrived.
Right.
We've got. I do have an illustration of that. It's in the night, but there it is. It's up now. So you're directly below the ruin, and it's that kind of path down. So yeah, looking around, there is if you follow the beach around, yes, you can follow the beach around the southern end of the island.
Yep.
Until you're directly under the southern cliffs. And around then you run out of beach. At that point, it's going to be a swim. So that is that. But you may make a perception roll for me.
That I will. 17. That's quite good.
17. Alrighty. You're looking around kind of carefully, looking up to see if there's any of these kind of cliffs. You are not seeing any other evidence or things untoward that you would not expect to see around such an island. As the beach has gone more towards the south, that takes you away from the nesting seabirds, so you're not getting your eyes pecked out. That is you just run out of beach. You could. At that point, you could scramble over the rocks a little bit and just follow along below the cliffs, but sooner or later it's just going to be untenable. The rocks would be too far apart, so it's really not possible to walk around the base of the island.
All right. I think
it would be possible to climb down from above at different points.
The monster came this way, I'm afraid it's a stronger swimmer than any of us, I suspect. Let's head back up the island.
All right, you head. You go back up the beach and return to the ruins. And I was saving up your 17 perception as you go up to the cliff and then kind of turn around, thinking, where is this? As it's getting into the late afternoon. And out to sea, you see something that you do not wish to see.
Oh, no.
It is the striped sail and the dragon prow of a longship. Raiders rowing hard towards the island. And you know them, the Danes. They have but one thing in mind: to kill the hermit, take the treasure, unaware the pilgrims have already stolen it and then died, and leave no one alive. As all the gulls squawk, and that is where we will leave our adventure for today. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, one and all. Thanks for tuning in. As I quickly line up the last little bit of some tunes, we've been Campaign Coins, I guess. We've been playing BEOWULF Age of Heroes from Handiwork Games. We've been listening to the sweet sounds of Sirenscape, music and sounds for tabletop games. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Same Anglo-Saxon time every week, 1 hour of play. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're having a blast.
Hey, see you next time.